Svetlana, the firefly in the room.
Hello plant friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to see you here, to have you here, because today it's kind of different video on my channel and I hope you will enjoy it. So to be honest, this weekend I had a lot of action going on. So every single morning, on Saturday and on Sunday, I went to long walks with my dog for at least 3 hours every morning, and we went into the woods, into the beautiful nature sites, and I was just inspired of all of this reborn nature, of all the flowers coming back to life, of all the trees growing new leaves. And the Rocky was so excited. He was just such a happy dog, running free from all the leashes, just having the best time of his life. And at that time I just felt that nature is just a really big part of my life, and I want to know more and more about it. I want to learn more about its history. I just want to know things, So after coming home, I just grabbed a book I have in my home. It's called Photosynthesis. Actually, well, it's my another room. So it's called Photosynthesis, or Photosynthesis in English. And it's our Lithuanian author's book about houseplants. And in one of these books pages, I found a story about ferns. So if you don't know, ferns are such an interesting plants. They have such a long and interesting story behind them. So I decided to go deeper into the internet, into this book's article, and I just read as much as I could. And I found awesome facts. So I thought, why not to share it with you guys? Maybe you will find it interesting as well, because I think it's always awesome not only to have a plant and just stare at it, to touch it and take care of it, but also to know the story behind it, to know how it ended up at your home. And who knows, maybe our grandmas had it, maybe our ancestors had it, and maybe they didn't, I don't know. So I thought maybe you'll find this interesting. If you do, please let me know in the comment section down below what do you think about this kind of videos, and should I do more history videos about plants? And let's just jump right into it. So guys, do you have any idea how special ferns are? We probably are used to see them at our grandma's houses or some kind of, public places like hospitals or maybe bars, but they have a long history just before that, just before our grandmas. Long time ago. These plants are so old. These plants are the oldest plants in our entire world. So they first appear in the fossils around 360 million years ago. It was in the Middle Devonian period, guys. It's so long time ago. 360 million years ago. Can you even imagine that? There's a completely separate studies dedicated for these plants called pteridology. Actually, in Victorian era in England, there was even a specific term for the fern craze called pteridomania. It was so popular to have ferns not only at your, home just as a plant. It were so popular that people would dress up with motifs of ferns on their clothes. They would have wallpapers with ferns. They would have statues. They would have books about ferns. They would have glasses, pottery, metal sculptures, textiles such as tablecloths, as something on your beddings, on your pillows. Everything was with ferns, and it was so popular. If somebody would see somebody with a fern clothes motifs, they would say, oh, what a fashionable lady. Even on the gravestones, people would have ferns. If you would go for the cemetery, you wouldn't bring a rose or lilies, you would bring ferns. Can you imagine how popular they were? Collecting ferns was so popular that people would go on a fern hunting picnics. Women and men would bring books about ferns, about specific species of ferns, and they would search for them. They would just look in the middle of the woods for more and more species they could bring home and collect. And it was so popular that even after having this collecting I don't know, hours, they would go on the picnics and then would spend the night in the woods just to, have fun, because it was such a popular activity, just like for us probably right now just go for a simple picnic, but with a little spice, So how interesting is that? I mean, it was so popular, and even after the more railways was made in the UK, it was even more pumping and popular because more people could go deeper into the woods and find more and more different species of ferns. It was so popular that rich people would order ferns from abroad to their home, to their doorsteps. I mean, things doesn't change, right? Even plants were ordered at that time, at Victorian era. I mean, how cool is that? The people even would find it as a business, and they would sell ferns at marketplaces, at some, I don't know, would bring them to rich people at home, and those who weren't that rich or, just stingy people, they would order someone to steal ferns from other people to them. So how crazy people were about ferns at that time. I mean, imagine right now you would order someone to steal for you a fern from your neighbor. Crazy. Actually, in Slavic culture, I live in Slavic culture, it is believed that ferns are blooming one time a year during the Ivan Kupala night. So in Lithuania we call it Joninės. It is believed to be almost impossible to find a blooming fern, but if you do, it is believed that you will be successful and rich, and have the best life till the end of your days. And it's so true, because in Lithuania every single summer, on the shortest night of the year, we're going to the woods, we're bringing our family members or our friends, and we just have overnight picnics, and we burn huge bonfires, we dance around them, we just have fun, have some drinks, have some, food cooked, and it's just that night that brings you back to the nature, and that is believed to be very magical. And I mean, there were so many beautiful and funny stories behind this. And I mean, last summer, last Joninės, I ended up naked in the lake with my friends. So, those crazy summer nights. For example, in the US, it is believed that ferns have magical properties. So if you would put a dry fern into hot coals, it's believed that the smoke out of it will exorcise the bad spirits from the surroundings where you will do this. Wow. But let's go back to the craze, right? If you're thinking why such a simple looking plant became so popular and even had a different studies for it, a specific studies and specific craze name, I mean, a little bit of that might be a fault of George Lodex. I probably say that name very wrongly, so I'll put it on the screen. This guy had a botanical garden, actually the biggest botanical garden in the entire world at that time, and he wanted to bring as many people to his botanical garden as possible because money. He wanted to keep this place popular, so he started to spread the news that collecting ferns is so intelligent. It's so such a sign of a manly man. It's a sign of a healthy person who is always outdoors, and it's just supposed to be fashionable to do so. So people went a bit crazy about it, and he was very happy about it. And actually at very similar time, a botanic, Edward Newman, published a book, A History of British Ferns. And it was just one in 100 of books about ferns. So people would have a tons of reading about these plants, and when they saw them everywhere, on clothes, at botanical gardens, at homes, it just became a thing. And it went that far, it was so popular that even some ferns started to go extinct. People would collect that many ferns that it was almost impossible for them to grow back and just, do their thing. So they would die off. And actually the ferns that people would collect at their home, they had in a special glass boxes that right now we're calling terrariums, but at that time they were called, forgot the name, boxes. So guy's name, boxes. Sorry, I'm very bad with names. So that's when this boxes started to boom, because everybody wanted to have the more special, the most rare plants, and it was almost impossible to have them alive, just like right now in our usual house conditions, with dry air, with hot days and sunny days. So people would collect them in these terrariums called boxes. Damn it. So the craze was so strong, people would collect and collect and collect almost every single day these ferns, that some of them went extinct. And actually the government was thinking about making new laws forbidding touching specific species because they were in danger. But actually that never ended up being necessary, because around that time when the craze was booming and popping, the new craze came to the world, and that was orchid craze. So the orchid came to the Europe, and people went crazy over these colorful blooming plants and left the ferns behind. But that's a completely different story. So what do you think, guys? Is it interesting? Do you love to hear facts like that? Because I had so much fun searching and finding such things as specific crazes about specific houseplants. How cool is that? I would love to have a time machine and go back to that Victorian era one day and just see people all around the ferns. I mean, how cool would that be, right? I'm thinking that probably if I would have more plenty friends in real life, I would love to make a fern, themed party. What do you think? That would be awesome. Maybe I should make one for my birthday, because my birthday is next Sunday. So yeah, that's about it. That's about ferns. Actually, there's so much more information about it. So if you want, just Google it, do some research, because it's so fun. And I mean, I think it's much better thing to search for some information, to research some history, than just chilling on the couch at that time. So that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this, because I really did enjoy doing this. And let me know in the comment section down below, would you love more? Maybe you want to do one about orchids? Maybe you want, I don't know, what do you want? Let me know in the comments. And for now, that will be about it. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more plenty content, because as you can tell, I have kind of a craze as well. And till the next time, bye guys.